Hi guys, welcome back to Mysteries Channel. Thank you for clicking on my video. I really appreciate it. Today's video is kind of gonna go and piggyback off my last video. My last video was about Gary Vay's research and how he believes that he and his colleagues may have found an old world language that was distributed around the world that everybody kind of used. And I have a question, do you guys believe that the ancients knew of each other? Is it possible that the further back you go in time, we all kind of knew about each other? Today's video is going to go over a couple of stories I found. One story really just kind of cements it for me. It was recorded in the 1880s and it comes from the Pima in the area that we're talking about in my last video. Before we get there, I just want to bring up another little piece that I didn't add in my last video because I thought it was going on forever and I was really worried that, it was a long video. This is going to talk about Cortez. Remember how Cortez, when he came to America, he went to what is now Mexico City and introduced himself to Montezuma, and Montezuma was like, dang bro, I think we've been waiting for you. In fact, you're right, look at that, you're right on schedule. Thanks for coming in. We've been collecting all this gold, these precious things for you. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's have a fabulous feast. And during this feast, we're going to catch up on where you've been and what you've been doing. Because it said that Montezuma truly believed that this might be the return of one of their gods. A white god that was going to come in a ship and return right around this time. Well, long story short, Cortez's friends choke under pressure. They see these fierce Aztec warriors decked out in all their gear and they completely lose it. A bloodbath ensues. Cortez and some of his men barely make it out. On their way out, they make a mental note, coming back here, found the mother lode of all treasures. We'll be back soon. They leave, they go north. Who do they run into when they go north? They run into the Hopi. That's right. These are the Puebloan people that have a fascinating history as well. I'm not going to go over all of it, but I'm going to bring up something very interesting that relates to that story. The Hopi also had a very similar god, different belief system, but something interesting. They also had a white brother. And their legend states that the true Pahana is the lost white brother of the Hopi. Before people get racial with this, just remember Native Americans use sacred colors. Was he white? Was he not white? We don't know. So most versions kind of have it like this. Pahana, or the elder brother, left for the east at a time that the Hopi entered the fourth world. So the Pahana, elder brother, he leaves and he's going to return from the east. Many Hopi in their burials always face east, waiting for their white brother to return. Here's where it gets kind of interesting. The Hopi, the Pahana, he carries with him something that holds a tablet. There were 2 tablets. These 2 tablets don't hold the 10 Commandments. Instead, they hold the Hopi way of life, a way to live a good, fulfilling life. Now, when the Hopi entered the fourth world, they begin their migrations. They are trying to find their perfect land. And as they migrate throughout the Americas, they are inscribing on rock, and this is part of their legends, so that when other Hopi tribes come through, they know this isn't the right land that they're looking for that was designated for them. During this time, Pahana was given half of 2 tablets that the Hopi had containing the perfect way to live. They were broken in half. One was given to the elder white brother and one was kept with the Hopi because they were worried that when the brother came back, they may not recognize him. Also, if a witch returned instead of him, they wanted to know for a fact that this was indeed their brother. So Cortez shows up. He runs into the Hopi right after he causes complete and utter chaos and havoc in current day Mexico City. The Hopi are like, let's ask you some questions. First, brother, where's the tablet? They asked him very pointed questions that would relate to what was written on the tablet and ask him for the tablet. Obviously, he knows nothing about the right way to live among the Native Americans and doesn't have the tablet. So they basically are like, kick rocks, get out of here, sucker. We're not falling for your crap. And because of the meeting with Cortez, not only the Hopi, but other Native Americans in the area felt a distrust for the white settlers. They immediately recognized that he was not a god, he was indeed a man, and they didn't trust him for crap. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that one with you, but that is super interesting, isn't it? And we're gonna go into a Pima legend. Now the Pima are also from this area, more Arizona. This legend is called the Well-Baked Man. The magician had made the world, but he felt something was missing. What could it be, he thought? What could be missing? Then it came to him that what he wanted on this earth was someone like himself, not just animals. How will I make them, he thought. First, he built himself a horno, an oven. Then, he took some clay and he formed it into the shape of a man. Now, Coyote was hanging around the way he usually does, and when Magician, who was Man-Maker, was off gathering firewood, Coyote quickly changed the shape of that clay image. Man-Maker built a fire inside the horno, then put the image in without looking at it closely. After a while, the Magician said, "He must be ready now." He took the image out and breathed on it, whereupon it came to life. "Why don't you stand up?" said Man-Maker. "What's wrong with you?" The creature barked and wagged its tail. "Oh, Coyote has tricked me," he said. Coyote changed my being into an animal like himself. Coyote said, "Well, what's wrong with that? Why can't I have a pretty creature that pleases me?" "Oh my, well, all right then, but don't interfere again." And that's why we have dog. It was Coyote's doing. So Man-Maker tried again. They should be companions to one another, he thought. I shouldn't just make one. He shaped some humans who were rather like himself and identical with each other in every other part. What's wrong here, Man-Maker was thinking. Then he saw. Oh my, that won't do. How can they increase? So he pulled a little between the legs of one image, saying, "That's much better." And then, with his fingernails, he made the crack in the other image. Now, they'll be able to do all the necessary things. He put them in the horno to bake. "They're done now," Coyote told him. So, Man-Maker took them out and made them come to life. "Oh my, what's wrong?" he said. "They're underdone. They're not brown enough. They don't belong here. They belong across the water someplace." He scowled at Coyote. "Why would you tell me that they're done when they aren't? I can't use them here." So the Magician tried again, making a pair like the last ones and placing them in the oven. After a while, he said, "I think they're ready now." No, they aren't done yet," said Coyote. "You don't want them to come out too light again. Leave them in there a little longer." "Well, all right," replied Man-Maker. They waited, and then he took them out. "Oh my, what's wrong?" "They're overdone. They're turning dark. They've burned too dark." He put them aside. "Maybe I can use them some other place also across the water. They don't belong here." On the fourth time, Man-Maker placed his image inside the oven. "Now don't interfere," he said to Coyote. "You give me bad advice. Leave me alone." This time, Magician did not listen to Coyote, but took them out when he himself thought they were done. He made them come to life, and these two beings walked around, talked, laughed, and behaved in a seemingly fashion. They were neither underdone nor overdone. "These were exactly right," said Man-Maker. "These really belong here. These I will use. They are beautiful." And that's how the Pueblo Indians came to be. Based on fragments recorded in the 1880s, the story is much older than that. Now this is going to be a Madoka legend. And this I picked specifically because it shows that the Native Americans knew of other tribes around them, knew a wide range of the tribes around them. And it's very interesting because, one, you can tell immediately who they disliked the most out of the tribes that they were talking about. And two, in the other one, you're thinking maybe they're talking about different tribes that had different skin tones. But no, they knew of each other. They knew of the tribes from, I think the West Coast tribes knew of the people on the East Coast. They might not have interacted with them on the regular, but there was interaction there. They knew of one another. And this story here, I think, kind of encapsulates it a little bit. Kamush, old man of the ancients, went down with his daughter to the underground world of the spirits. It was a beautiful world reached by one long, steep road. In it were many spirits, as many as all the stars in the sky and all the hairs on all the animals in the world. When night came, the spirits gathered in a great plain to sing and dance. And when daylight came, they returned to their places in the house, lay down, and became dry bones. After 6 days and 6 nights in the land of the spirits, Kamush longed for the sun. He decided to return to the upper world and take some of the spirits with him to be people in this world. With his big basket in hand, he went through the house of the spirits and he chose the bones he wished to take. Some bones he thought would be good for one tribe of people, others for another. When he had filled his basket, Kamush strapped it to his back and together with his daughter started up the steep road to the upper world. Near the top, he slipped and he stumbled, and the basket fell to the ground. At once, the bones became spirits again, shouting and singing. They ran back to their houses and in the spirit world laid down and became dry bones. A second time, Kamush filled his basket with bones and started toward the upper world. A second time, he slipped, and the spirits shouting and singing returned to the underground world. A third time, he filled his basket with bones. This time, he spoke to them angrily. "You just think you want to stay here. When you see my land, a land where the sun shines, you'll never want to come back to this place. There are no people up there, and I know I'll get lonesome again." A third time, Kamush and his daughter started up that steep and slippery road with the basket. When he came to the edge of the upper world, he threw the basket ahead of him onto the ground. Then he uncovered the basket and selected the bones for the kinds of people he wanted in certain places. As he threw them, he named them. You shall be the Shastas, he said to the bones, and he threw them westward. You will be brave warriors. You shall also be brave warriors, he said to the Pit River Indians and the Warm Spring Indians. To the bones he threw a short distance northward, he said, you shall be the Klamath Indians. You'll be as easy to frighten as women. You won't be good warriors. Last of all, he threw the bones which became the Madoka Indians. To them he said, you will be the bravest of all. You will be my chosen people, though you'll be a small tribe. And though your enemies are many, you will kill all who come against you. You kill. You shall keep my place when I have gone. I, Kamush, have spoken. To all the people created from all the bones of the spirits, Kamush said, you must send certain men to the mountains. There they must ask to be made brave or to be made wise. Then, if they ask for it, they will be given the power to help themselves and to help all of you. Then Kamush named the different kinds of fish and beasts that people shall eat. And as he spoke their names, they appeared in the rivers and the lakes, on the plains and in the forests. He named the roots and the berries and the plants that the people should eat. He thought, and they appeared. He divided the work of the people by making this law. Men shall fish and hunt and fight. Women shall get wood and water, gather berries and dig roots, and cook for their families. This is my law. So Kamush finished the upper world and his work in it. Then with his daughter, he went to the place where the sun rises, at the eastern edge of the world. He traveled along the sun's road until he reached the middle of the sky. There he built a house for himself and his daughter, and there they even live today. That's what I got for today. I hope you guys have yourselves a very great day.